All right, hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We're here on the ground in Charlotte in the beautiful Cessna Caravan for the first time in a while here. Just been, I was flying it around a little bit here before the stream, doing some test flights and just doing some of the things that I want to do in the stream and just see kind of how it handles and everything. And it's all right. It's really not that bad. The Caravan, it's interesting. We'll go over it a little bit here. We just shut the engine down. Yeah, we're on the ground here in Charlotte. Low vis here. Not quite at mins. I don't know how else to set. I don't know how to set it any lower. Unless, was this 217? Try to set it to like, I don't know. We'll try to set it a little bit lower, maybe even just to add to it. But basically, guys, I have Recurrent training coming up in the simulator this week in Charlotte. So I wanted to kind of just go over some things before we got down there. And looks like I have some of the things that we're going to be doing. I think unofficially, right? Have some of the things that we're going to be covering. So we're going to try to just make our way through the list and just see what we're going to do and just talk about some of the specifics and the details of flying the Caravan and the real world stuff. So from what I can see, I mean, we're going to be in the simulator, so there's not really going to be too much of a walk around, I don't think. But you know, so at first glance here, this screams EX. You've got for those of you who don't know, there's 3 variants of the Caravan, kind of like the 319, 320, 321 vibe, kind of. So the what's up, Skystream? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, man? This would scream to me EX, which would be like the 321 version, so to speak. It would have, so what says that to me is the 4-bladed prop. We've got the TKS instead of the boots, and the G1000, everything on the inside. The flaps only have 2 settings: approach/takeoff and full. And up, so I guess 3. But SBA to Lost, nice, man. A busy airspace over there, nice. That's always fun, dude. That's always fun, so that's good. But yeah, so that would tell you that. But some of the power settings and things kind of tell you otherwise about the airplane. Different engines, so the EX has the PT6A1, or it might just be PT6 or whatever. PT6 140. It's 867 horsepower. The 208B, the Legacy, as it would be called. So I guess I should probably retitle the stream. It's probably technically incorrect, but the Legacy model of the Caravan is 675 horsepower engine, PT6A 114A, and then the 319, if you will, of the Caravans, the this sometimes referred to as the A model. That's not official. That's just what we call it sometimes. But the little Caravan is PT6 114, which is a 600 horsepower engine, which really is a dog sometimes. So I don't even know if we have any more of those. Honestly, I think we might have got rid of. No, we do have a couple still, but this definitely screams EX to me. Like I said, oh wait, does it say EX on there? Oh, it does. It literally says EX on there. It says Grand Caravan EX, but like I said, it definitely kind of doesn't behave like that all the time. So anyways, we can jump inside and get it going here. So there's going to be some things. Like I said, I was just kind of up whipping it around a little bit. We've got our beacon light on, which is fine. That's about it, though. Now we've got navs and beacons on, and you can't move the seatbelt signs. The cabin lights you can turn on, though. Do they work? Looks like they kind of work. So cabin lights are good there. These are the air conditioning controls. They don't work. The bleed air heat switch doesn't work. These are your heater controls. Down here, lights for the standby instruments right there, and for the circuit, the switches and things, and this G1000 screens and stuff. So those are all kind of your lights, and then this is all the like. Oh, these are 2 buttons that are actually important that don't work. Overspeed governor test, and then the fire test switch. So it tests the engine fire, so it'll give you your indications of things that you're looking for, and then it'll also give you your fuel detector switch. And basically, if you have one of them off and you're trying to start, it'll go off. And I think that's about it for the fuel selector switch. Or if both of them are off at any point, like during flight or anything, it would yell at you. So that's that. You test those, make sure that works. This is a run-up item. Basically what it does is so you'd run the engine up to like 1900 on the prop. So basically the prop gets topped, is what we call it. Like the RPMs aren't going to go any higher than 1900, which is good. And then you bring it back to idle, and then you'd push this button and run up the throttle at the same time. And then you should see the RPM should not go above 1750 plus or minus 60. So that does not work in this plane, but that's a prop governor check, basically, is all that does. And then other than that, guys, we're going to pretty much get her all fired up here and get out of here. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to do a takeoff. We're going to be on the roll and have some kind of issue at a slow speed and have to reject, and we'll go over the takeoff briefing. So we'll reject the takeoff, come to a complete stop. We'll start rolling again. We will go ahead and start rolling and then rotate, and then a couple hundred feet we're going to have another simulated engine failure and land on the remaining runway. I did test that. It does work. It's a 10,000 foot runway here in Charlotte, so it does work. And then we're going to have an engine failure over 1,000 feet, try to run our memory items and bring it back to any runway or taxiway, anything that we can put it down on. Yeah, so that would be that. And then we'll take off the opposite direction. And then we will go out to the north, maybe a little turn to the west, just climb up to about 8,000 feet. Maybe we'll have some sort of engine failure, an engine flame out there. And then try to recover and fix the engine. And then other than that, just maybe run through and talk through some of the things that are on our memory items list, some things that we should have committed to memory and things that we need to be able to run through at a moment's notice. And also while we're starting up as well, some things. And the startup stuff applies mostly to captains because the first officers don't start the engine because the engine start panel is right here, and we have nothing over there. That's a phone rest right there is all that is. But yeah, so we'll kind of just go through that. And yeah, guys, with that being said, oh yeah, and then when we're coming back, we'll talk about what we're gonna do on the way back later as well. But we're also gonna do an ILS approach. We're gonna do a maybe we'll go to another airport and shoot a little non-precision approach, a circling approach, and then come back to a go around here, and that'll pretty much do it. There's really nothing else to do. We can maybe look in the Charlotte area here and see what kind of airports are close by that maybe we could just fly over to real quick. What is this? What is this? Shelby Airport. KEHO. Maybe we'll kind of plan to go there. Let me see if I can just kind of redraw this flight plan up. Oh, that's not real. KHKY. Where's HKY at? I don't know. Let's clear this from the flight plan, and then we'll go... Oh, shoot. What is it? KEHO we'll do. It is just a little airport over to the west of Charlotte. So we'll just set that and we'll kind of fly for over there. They've probably got some kind of... nope, that's not it at all. Oh. E. H. No. O. There we go. Clear that. Get rid of that. There we go. Okay, cool. So that'll be that. Looks like it's maybe like 30 miles away-ish. I don't know. All right, guys. So basically, we're going to go ahead and start up the engine here. We've got our beacon light on. Everything's good to go there. So what you want to do whenever you're starting up the engine, you want to make sure you have your hand on the condition lever. You also want to go prop full forward first. Hand on the condition lever. And with the starter, you go to fuel boost pump on. and then starter on, starter to start. And then you don't have to have the ignition on. You can leave it in norm and you should be able to start it. Now you would want your left hand on the fuel boost pump, and then your left hand on the fuel condition lever here. You want to wait for at least 12% on the NG. It doesn't even go any higher in this thing. You would reject the start if you see any kind of spike in the ITT, any kind of anything crazy going on with your oil pressure, or even your fuel flow. If it goes up into like the 400-500s, you'd want to actually, I think if it goes crazy, you want to pull that back as well. So we'll kind of practice a little rejected start procedure as well. Basically, that's just going to be idle, off, and motor with the starter. So that's all it's going to be there. So we'll go ahead and introduce fuel. We'll say everything's going good. Let's say the ITT goes crazy. We're going to go cut off, and motor as well, and that should bleed off the rest of the extra fuel. So that's basically how you reject a start in the Caravan, and then kind of once you're all situated and everything like that, you can flip the starter back to off, and then the engine will come down, and everything will kind of be okay. All right, so let's try that again. Let's do a normal start. Fuel boost pump on, starter on, and we will wait for 12% on the NG. There's 12%. Let's go ahead, low idle. We'll talk limitations as well on the climb out. All right, looks like we've got a good start. So basically then all you would do is you'd go to norm, off, and standby power would come on as well. Standby power is your alternator in this plane. So that's basically it, guys. That is a good engine start. We're low idle good there. These lines are not very well drawn on here, but that's okay. Other than that, I believe we're pretty much ready to rock and roll. Flaps to approach, which is, or takeoff, which is the flap setting here in the EX. We'll go strobes and all of our lights on there. And just like that, guys, we're ready for departures. Let's go ahead and get some togas in the chat. Like I said, we are going to do a rejected takeoff here initially. So takeoff briefing would essentially be, you know, standard left seat departure, runway 18 center here in Charlotte. Any issues on the runway, beta brakes, bring the plane to a stop. You know, the captain will handle the plane, I'll handle the passengers. Anything under 1,000 feet, 30 knots, or 30 left, 30 right of the runway, will pitch for 85 knots and try to find a soft spot, put it down. Anything over 1,000 feet, 95 knots, member out is back to the runway or a taxiway, anything we can find. And then any questions we'd have, if there was a SID, we'd brief the SID real fast, you know, leaving Dulles. Lurking in the background, what's up, Limp? Welcome to the stream, man. Good to see you again. Feel like it's been a while. You know, you're leaving Dulles. It's Capital One departure, radar vectors, Martinsburg, 3,000 feet on the altitude. Any questions? No? Okay. So basically, things you're looking for on the takeoff, you don't want to see the ITT. Now, the ITT is very, very wrong in this, and the torque too, I think. But basically what you do, and the RPM, it doesn't behave very well at all. So basically what you do is you advance the power initially a little bit. I'll just kind of give you an example here for now. So you advance the power a little bit. You kind of feel the prop topped. Again, that's what we call it. It's about at 1900 is what happens when it happens. You'd feel the kind of, and then it goes green. So it wouldn't go green yet either. It would the prop would go green at 1900. And then you'd advance it to 2000, and we generally set the torque on here. Now see, this is, you'd expect to see this on a legacy model. The green would go all the way up to like 24, 25, and the takeoff band would be right at 2000 because you want to set it at 2000 here, which would then give you about 2000 there. Prop sometimes does go red. You just pull it back a little bit. But basically that's kind of the takeoff procedure. We'll pull it back for just a second. So yeah, that's what we'll expect on the takeoff procedure. Prop top, takeoff power coming in, set the torque to 2000 on the standby indicator, and then let the airspeed come alive, 60 knots, cross-checked, and rotate at 75 knots. But we're going to have an issue before that, so we'll bring the power to idle, and then bring the plane to a stop. All right, guys, let's do it here. Skystream said he's got COVID and is throwing up 3 times. Be lurking so I can land. All right, sounds good, man. Hopefully you feel better from the COVID. So takeoff power is coming in, prop topped, all that good stuff. Release the brakes. 2000 set, props going red a little bit, so we'll just pull it back just a bit. Airspeed's alive. 60, cross-checked, and we'll go ahead and pull the power back. Beta, brakes, and really there's no beta here, so we just go to reverse. Get on the brakes, bring the plane to a stop. If there was an engine fire, really what you'd be looking at doing, you'd be going idle feather cut off, and then you could pull these to shut those. I'd be going out, getting the passengers out, evacuating on the runway is what would be happening there. Another thing you're going to hear me refer to a lot is PIP, FBI, EPL. So basically, once we get going again here, whenever we have an issue below 1,000 feet, we're going to basically go power idle, ignition on, which we should probably have our ignition on for takeoff anyway, so that saves us a step. So basically, you go power, ignition, power, try to catch it if the NG is falling. If the NG's falling, basically, if you can catch it above 50%, sometimes you can save the engine. Sometimes you can't, and if that's the case, you can't. And then the FBI is just fuel selectors, boost pump, and then the ignition as well. But if the ignition's on, you're good. So you just want to make sure everything's on so you're not starving the engine of fuel. All right, let's do that again, and we'll get going here. Like I said, a couple hundred feet. We'll put it back down on the runway and basically do a touch and go. All right, here we go. Takeoff power is set. Airspeed's alive. $60, she wants to fly. 75, rotate. I got a positive rate. And engine instruments are all in the green, except for right now. We're gonna go ahead and pull the power. Oh, this is a little bit of a closer one here. We'll see if we can kind of slip it. Yeah, we got this one for sure. And we'll put it right back down on the remaining runway that we do have. There we go. And then we'll jam the power back in. And we can do a little touch and go. 75, rotate. That's got to be something you can only do in a caravan, man. Have an engine failure and then do a touch and go. That's awesome. All right, we got positive rate. Fuel elevation was about 7 something. Like 700 feet. We'll pitch for somewhere a little less than 10 degrees. Normally we'd have some V-bars up there, but there's no toga in this thing, so it doesn't work, unfortunately. So we're well past our 400 feet here, just trying to get enough airspeed to get the flaps up. We need to be above 95 knots. Flaps up, climb checklist, flaps up indicating lights. We'd say maybe those are set. Heats are off my side. Traffic's on, or no, traffic's on. Yeah, it was on you. Heats are off. And we're pitching for about 110. We'd say set it up, flight level change, 110 knots, and heading mode. And let's say now we're over 1,000 feet. Let's go ahead and so we go autopilot. Let's say we just had an engine failure. So basically right now, all we're going to be doing is trying to turn back for the runway, or even going direct to Charlotte if that doesn't take too much time. We can go direct to Charlotte and then go to nav mode, or just keep bringing that heading around. And actually, we can spin this back for 95 knots. We do power, ignition, power, try to catch it. Let's say that didn't work. We'll just keep this turn coming. We don't have much altitude to play with here. We're going to try to find the runway. Power, ignition, power didn't work. We'd maybe look to feather the engine so we can start getting... I think it actually kind of kills your drag in the game. Unfortunately, it's not really holding our 895 knots very well, and it might also be plummeting us into the ground. We can use our synthetic vision here that we have a little bit to kind of line up for some sort of part on the airfield. We'd be squawking 7700, mayday, mayday, mayday. And then once... We'll mess with the power and stuff once we have the field made. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the autopilot. It's not really behaving very well right now. We try to lower that nose, get some of that airspeed back. And like I said, really down to mins, just hoping to find something on airport property and put it back down. There should be a runway, looks like maybe a little off to our right or to the left here. I'm not 100% sure, honestly. But it says autopilot's on still, so there we go. Just get rid of the flight director here as well. Like I said, you're pitching for that 95 knots. That's the best glide speed. I'm seeing a runway, and actually we're pretty high, so we can go ahead and get down. Let's go ahead and go to feather, and probably even if there was a fire or something. I mean, you wouldn't kill the engine if you didn't have to, but you would definitely want to. You wouldn't kill the engine if you didn't have to, but you would definitely want to get it cut off if there was like a fire or something like that, so that way there's nothing else happening with the fuel or anything like that. We're at a good safe airspeed of 100 knots right now. We are chilling. Do that in real life with passengers on board, Limp says. Oh my gosh, yeah, no way. And we are just gonna glide this thing right back down onto the runway. So that's how it's done. We were a little over 1,000 feet in that case, so we gave ourselves a little bit of extra room. And we are going to go ahead and bring the plane to a stop. Everybody claps. We saved the day. Let's go ahead and get the prop back full forward, and that should kind of restart the engine. And basically all we're going to do is just kind of depart straight out here. We can get flaps in. And 75 rotate. Over torquing her a little bit there. We'll get that power pulled back. Same thing, props red as well. Get the prop pulled back. We got a positive rate, and engine instruments are all on the green now. Like I said, gave ourselves maybe a little bit on the altitude in terms of everything there. Maybe we were at like 1,200 feet. We were at like 2,000 feet when I started making the turn, so maybe we were like 1,300 feet. But as you can see, with the 95 knots, easily made it back. Let's go and go, we'll get to that 95 knots. We'll go flaps up and a climb checklist. Flaps up. Flaps are indicating lights are set. Traffic's on. The auto is on. You heats off. No check complete. Let's go ahead with heading mode. We'll go autopilot. Flight level change. Yeehaw. Okay, yep, that's not right. That might have been my fault. Alright, heading mode. Flight level change. 110. And the mindset... What is happening? Was it altitude selecting at 3,000? Stress set. Let's start making a little bit of a left turn. Let's maybe go to like... We're going to the west. Let's go to like 6,000 because we don't want to get too high because of this. Alright, flight level change, please. Heading mode, we'll keep it coming over to left a little bit. Autopilot is going to just take us sky high for some reason. Let's see if it fixes itself or something. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we'll save it from a stall situation. Maybe that'll be good. We'll go direct. We'll go nav mode. If this would happen, you'd go stall, disengage the autopilot, full forward, and drop the nose to the horizon. Keep this turn coming. Let me see. Let me try to get this. Maybe it's the trim. Let me get the trim down. Not that that would actually be the case in real life. It shouldn't matter, but... Alright, we got heading and flight level change again. Let's go autopilot bank mode. It's climbing us. Let's go to nav mode here. Maybe not as bad. Alright, it's not as bad though. Let's see. It might not try to kill us this time. Maybe it comes down. Okay, where is it taking us to, by the way? Let's get a fresh direct. There we go. That's what we're talking about. Here we go. You can definitely tell you fly this in real life. A little more comfortable in this than the than anything else, I guess you could say. Makes sense though. I mean, this is the plane I have my most my most hours in and everything, so definitely makes sense. All right, we've got altitude selected. We've reached our cruising altitude. We don't pull the prop back anymore to 1750. It's our SOP to leave it at 1900. In the climb, in the EX, you don't want to see anything more than 825 on the ITT. Obviously, again, way low. If you're seeing ITTs in the 600s, I mean, not good. Okay, what's happening? We're just going to direct ourselves to the airport over here. We'll get an approach selected and everything. And in the book, it says our torque limitations in the cruise are 1,300, which are ridiculous. There's no way, never, ever, ever would you cruise at 1,300. But anyway, so basically that was a, low visibility takeoff, we'll call that, with an engine failure. We did a normal takeoff also here, heading out, if you want to call that autopilot situation normal, and we fixed the stall. So that's something there as well. We'll do an ILS approach whenever we get back in there. We'll try to find a non-precision approach. So let's see if we can find one going into this airport here. Let's see, they've got 2 RNAVs. Shelby, open the charts approach. They've got an RNAV to runway 5, which is a WAS approach. Technically is an RNAV approach. NDB to runway 3 or 23. Yeah, we're not doing the NDB approach. Let's do the RNAV to runway 23. Technically, this is a non-precision approach. We'll load it up from Linko. Minimums are going to be 1097. It's conditional. What conditions? 1097 with the LPV. So we'll do basically 1100. Enter, and you would be able to hit enter again, but you have to actually scroll it all the way out. So let's get, let's do something here. Let's do direct to, hello? Direct to gyro. Alright, that's nice. That's pretty much bang on there. Let's go direct to gyro. We'll go nav mode. Alright, we'll see if that behaves itself this time. And then we can set up the VNAV. So 2,500 feet it wants us at gyro. We can go ahead and set VNAV, and it should capture the VPath as well. And just in case we can go VNAV direct, that doesn't work. Okay. We can go taxi light off now that we're cruising. We can go cruise checklist. Power is set. Engine instruments are in the green. Heats are off on my side. I'd check these, make sure they're off. Captain would say heats are off on my side with the stalls and pitot heats. Heats are off my side. Fuel balance looks good in this case. And air conditioning is off. Cruise checklist is actually air conditioning is on, but you can't move it. So, all right, so that's pretty much it. Top of descent, going into this other airport here in 2 minutes. So we're chilling for right now. Talking about some memory items here. So we just did that. We talked about idle feather cutoff a bunch. If we had an electrical fire right now, basically you'd want to turn everything electrical related off. So you'd basically start here. I mean, you go battery off. It calls for the turn the standby power off first. But I mean, in my mind, it just makes sense to just kind of hit everything in this order right here. So I'd probably just go off, trip the generator. So basically, pull the battery off, pull the generator, trip it, pull the standby power off, and then shut off all your lights, close your vents, or you don't have to shut off all the lights, I guess your battery's off. So off, 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 close the vents to prevent draft and the fire, I guess, like whipping it up more. Bleed air heat switch off if you were using that, and then grab the fire extinguisher and use it as well. So that's that. That's also the same checklist for the, why are we getting a glide path? That's not, all right. That's the same checklist for a cabin fire as well. If we had a fire in the back cabin there, you would do the same things with the switches. You just go off, 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 close the vents, bleed or heat switch off if you had it on, and grab the fire extinguisher, and I'd probably be the one to have to go back there and deal with that. What else do we got? Cabin fire during ground operations. That's if we're on the ground like we kind of talked about. We bring the plane to a stop. He'd go feather and cut off and turn the battery off, and then I would evacuate the airplane. Engine fire during start. We talked about fuel condition lever to cut off, fuel boost switch to off, and starter off. Inadvertent icing encounter. I mean, you're just going to turn the, we're starting our descent, so we'll go ahead and pull the power back. Usually at about 1,000 on the torque, but we'll see what kind of speed that gives us today. Okay, so we'd go with the, if we got into icing inadvertently, I mean, you know, it wouldn't really, hello, Robin, what's up? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. You just go ignition on. So you want to turn your ignition on, which we still have our ignition on. An earth separator would come open or to bypass, which would be this over here. Basically, it would, this is the intake over here on this side, and you just close the door so it would just shoot right out this little vent right there instead of going actually into the engine. Just push that back in for now. Turn your heats on, obviously, and try to turn around if it's bad enough. So if your power would roll back to idle, unfortunately in the flight, you know, you just, everything kind of comes back to idle, you would just bring the, you would just bring your power lever to idle and then start using the emergency power lever, which we can't use in the sim, but you start using this, and basically what that does, oh shoot, we should be high idle, that's all right. See, that shouldn't actually, that's actually incorrect. If you, sometimes you do forget to put it into high idle, if you miss it on the checklist or whatever. I mean, it's not, that rarely ever happens, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't actually change, it just changes the idle speed from 56% NG to 65, I believe. Let me see, in the EX, it might be 55 to 68. So you wouldn't notice any change above 68% NG. So like if we went to low idle right now, see how it drops? Like that wouldn't happen. It's above idle, its idle speed of 68, so nothing would change. So yeah. All right, let's see. What's the temperature outside right now? It's saying it's 9 degrees. We would not need it. If it was 5 degrees, we'd do our icing stuff. So pull that out. Those would come on. Heats would come on, and start running our TKS, which actually you can. Oh, that's the. Oh, you actually can run it on. You get an indication up here. It says TK, or what does it say? Anti-ice. I think it says anti-ice norm, and then high if you needed it. But yeah, okay, so that is that pretty much. We're going to be coming up on this approach here. Like I said, we will have LPV and WAS and all that good stuff, so we're not going to, this is not going to be a challenging approach. This is our glide path, intercept is at gyro, so we do want to be more or less ready to go. And we'll honestly try the circle approach here. Circling minimums removed on this chart. That's nice. So maybe just to send down to like 1100 for like the LPV, or for the LNAV VNAV mins, maybe like 1120. Actually 1200. It looks like there's another, that's like a higher minimum. We can go below 150, we can go flaps approach, and we can arm approach mode as well. Which it says it's already has, which it really probably shouldn't, but it is what it is. So we will circle to runway 5, and then maybe execute a missed approach procedure and head back and shoot the ILS 18 center going into Charlotte. So we're turning final. That's all looking good. Let's say they cleared us for the approach. Turn that light on. Let me try to think here. What other little things can we do? It's really about it. I mean, there's really not a lot of these memory items and stuff like that are pretty redundant. So we'll set the altitude for 1,200 feet so we don't bust that. And we got 1,000 to go for that. Now, technically, you do have to be visual for a circling approach, so we might kind of, we might raise the mins a little bit here. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Why did that just make it worse? Alright, we'll set it like there. So that way we can be visual to shoot the circling approach. Looking about 120 on the approach speed, that looks good. So we are visual with the runway now, so we can actually break this approach off. So we can get like, so when you fly a circling approach, this is kind of how you do it. You have to be visual the whole time. And you have to stay within like 1.3 miles of the runway. And then what's the airport elevation here? The airport elevation is 847, so 1,000 feet would be like 1,800. So technically now, since we're low, like we're not at pattern elevation by any means, and our pattern elevation in the caravan would really be 1,500 above. So it'd be even higher. So you cannot go below your circling minimums until you're on your... I mean, you're so low, really, it doesn't make sense to go any lower than what you're at anyways. So it's like, it is what it is. But you either don't want to... I think it's either once you're on your base or once you're on the final turn, you can't go below your circling minimum. So basically kind of just hang out here until you're on final and until it really makes sense. And then, like I said, we'll execute a go-around procedure, which usually what we would do is you'd go toga, set takeoff power, make sure on over temp, over torque, 400 feet flaps up, nav mode, autopilot, all that good stuff. But in this case, we're not going to have toga, so it's going to make it a little bit more challenging on us, but that's good. Lip said, do you do your recurrent in a real plane or a simulator? We actually just recently got like some nice full motion simulators down in Charlotte, so that's where we're going to be doing the simulator training is there. So let's go, we can go autopilot off, and I can hand fly this in here. Like I said, I want to stay above that 1,200 feet for now. As we make our turn here, base to final, we can go flight director off. That's not helping us any. Bank mode definitely off. Just keep the turn coming here. Not 100% sure where the airport's at. Can't really see it, but we'll find it eventually. Yeah, see the low final approach course come back in. See, I see we're still low. It's like you wouldn't really want to be lower than anything right now. So here we are. Like I said, we're on the approach. Whatever. Let's say for whatever reason, get a little bit unstable, we want to initiate a go around. We'll go ahead and hit toga, go around, advance the power, don't want to over temp or over torque it. Like I said, no more than on the takeoff sector, no more than 825 on the torque in an EX 765 in the Legacy. You go positive rate 400 feet, we do have that. We can go flaps up and give me heading mode for now, and flight level change 110 please. And we can go ahead with the autopilot back on. Maybe, oh, it's 1,200 feet, that's why that wouldn't do us any good. Flight level change again. There you go, flight level change 110, and we've set our heading for just the runway heading for now, and we're gonna go up to, we'll just call it like 4,000 feet for now. Climb checklist, flaps are up, indicating lights are set, traffic's on, yeah, that on you, heats are off, climb check complete. So let's go ahead and set up for the ILS 18 center going into why is it 2,500? That's not right. Nope, it's Should not be capturing altitude at all right now. Why is it doing that? Because I just activated the approach on accident. Yeah, all right, let's try 4,000 feet. There we go. Let's get rid of, destination is not this. Charlotte to Charlotte, activate. You don't actually have to do that in the real plane. It's stupid. We're going to get rid of that one there. Okay, procedure, select approach. What? Let's try this again. That one, activate, execute, approach, select approach. Okay. Interesting. All right, altitude is captured. Gonna get that off. Where you go? Right here. Hello, what's up? Okay, we'll just pull the power back and kind of hang out here for now. Let's see. It's maybe if we go direct to Charlotte for now. Let's go direct to Charlotte and nav mode. There we go. There we go. Now we're talking. ILS 18 center. We can draw it out from there. Minimums on the ILS 18 center going into Charlotte 942. So we'll set 950. Go ahead and enter that. Get through all that stuff. Load it up. And we can go direct to what the freak? Flight plan. Let's see. Let's go direct to Osage instead. There we go. That should set that up for us. Nice, perfect base, pretty much here. What are we doing? There we go. Nice base leg for us. Basically, Osage is at 3,000. We can do our VNAV again, which we do have selected already, and we can just set 3,000 feet for that. New York, we're in Charlotte, making art for 10 years. Yeah, a little bit, I guess. I like art as much as the next guy. So we ran through our cruise checklist. We're heading back. We are chilling. Let's take a look at the rest of the requirements here. We're about to do an ILS, a coupled ILS. We did a non-precision. It says a second non-precision. We don't need to do that. Did a circling approach. We just went missed. And then maybe we could do a no flap approach. Let's do that. Yeah, we can do a no flap approach on the way back in, and the ILS. I want to get a verse of the day in real quick because we didn't do it last time because I forgot, and then also because yeah, I don't know, just because it's the most important thing ever. We have a little bit of time. Matthew 28:19, go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, man. That's what it's all about, man. Making disciples out of all the nations. Baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And, you know, trying to show other people the light, trying to bring them to light as well, right? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink, though. And that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to force anybody to do anything, but we are here to try to spread the gospel and, you know, put it in other people's hands and let them make the decision for themselves what they want to do with their eternity. So, yeah, man, it's up to you, but realistically, yeah, that's our biggest goal here on Earth, is just to spread the love of the Holy Spirit, man. but sounds in this plane are actually not terrible. It's probably the thing I'm disappointed in the least. Flight model looks pretty good too. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything. I think it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid go. If we would have a flame out right now, the biggest thing would be we'd set our flight level. We'd set the altitude to 0, flight level change 95. Find the nearest airport, go to it. If we're not going to make it, just try to get down and get below the cloud deck and find a good spot to put it down for landing. And then on the way down, we try our PIP. FBI, and then use the emergency power lever if we have to. And then, yeah. That would be if we had a flame out like right now or whatever. Like I said, you just look for the nearest airport and then idle feather cutoff. Again, idle feather cutoff really is like a last resort too. It's like once you kind of get all the way down there and, you know, it's all you have left type thing, so. Yeah, and Skystream, if you're here, what plane were you flying? Limp, what's going on, man? You see any more rocket launches down there? Yeah, Ella, it is in the description of, I believe it's in the description of the video, and if not, it's in my bio of the channel as well. 2 nights ago, we had a launch at 4 a.m. I didn't stay up. Dang. You did watch another one? 151 from Skystream. Nice, dude. What plane are you flying, Skystream? Sure, Ella, I could drop in the chat. 737-700, nice, dude. He was in a real plane. What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? Poser, what's up, man? Welcome to stream. Negative, sir. Not on the network tonight. Doing too much crazy stuff. I didn't want to bother. Just because he was a Boeing? Yeah, I think Mach about 4.5. Yeah, you're right about in the ballpark here. Yeah, this is actually 1.4 Mach is how you read that. Not everybody knows that. Alright, is that guy? Ella's on. Alright, let's see. I think I finally figured this out. Nope. Ella, if you. I don't know. I'm struggling to get the thing in the chat, Ella. If you just want to just open the description of the video and just hit where it says join the Discord, just tap on that link. Poser, we're just ripping around here doing. And we start our descent. We can go ahead. Do about 1,000 on the torque. Approach mode can get armed, even though it should go green needles eventually for us. We're gonna do a normal approach, except for we're gonna do flaps, no flaps. So we're going to Charlotte, Poser. We're basically just kind of flying around, messing around, doing the getting ready for my Recurrent training this weekend. Why does my Fly Tampa Vegas GSX gates don't show up? I don't know. I've never had that issue. Maybe is it a conflicting scenery? Do you have maybe another freeware downloaded that you don't know about? Maybe it needs an update. The scenery itself could need an update. Yeah, 2 airports. That's the biggest thing. Well, I'll try to set this all the way down to mins here. Why? Wait, it didn't. Oh, shoot. Here we go. And it's not, didn't capture localizer either. So here we go. Now we're going to have a situation. I'm just going to fly it. And we're going to go on no flaps too. So, oh, baby. We're going to go idle and get her down. That's the beautiful thing about the Caravan is you're never high in the Caravan. Technically not supposed to do more than 1,500 feet a minute, but... On the Fly Tampa, everything else works fine without GSX. It's only the Charlie gates. Like I said, see if it needs an update. Where can I find the description box? Just, if you open up the video, just... it's just right underneath the video. FedEx feeder, something like that. Not necessarily that in particular, but something like that. Come visit Oakland. Dude, when we get the 767 in the sim, 76, 75, bro, we are definitely going to be going to all those cargo hubs. Did we go to Oakland with the Prime 330 in the 2024 stream a while back? I think we probably did. Like I said, no flap landing here, guys. This should be our last landing. I think, I don't think I have. There we go. Lights are set. We're good to go. Ready for a greaser here. Once a runway's made, generally you can go power idle. I like to land with some power in, but in the sim it doesn't, like normally the plane would slow way down too if you were trying to, if you pulled it to idle like that. Eee, come on, give it to me, baby. Give it to me. Just give it to me. Oh, come on. Are we really high? I can't even tell how dark it is. All right, we'll take that. Whoa, center line, where are we at? And we'll get into reverse. think there's an exit like right here. Like peanut butter on a wet tortilla. Is that good? Everything just broke. Oh, the last GSX update busted some things for you, Limp? I don't know, let's see, is there a gate that we can taxi to? I don't even know. Successful flap up landing and hopefully a recurrent check ride passed. Let's like head this way, let's see if we can find something. Limp. So I figured out, I think what the lady was saying that one time we streamed the C17, I think she was saying APU door. Because it happened to me again, and I was like, what is she like going on about? And I was like, oh, I never shut the APU off. And I heard her like more louder than, like more clearer than I did last time. And I'm pretty sure she was saying APU door because as soon as I shut the APU off, she stopped talking. So that thing is a piece of work. I took it on a long haul. I did it I did it across the pond to Honolulu. And thing, you can't put like any waypoints in or anything like that. Like, can barely do an arrival. Thing is a piece of work. No, not this thing, the C17. No. Nah, the PT6 is what they use for an APU. Alright, we're just gonna cut across the way here. We'll just pull up to a gate. And that's pretty much going to do it. Pretty quick little stream here. Just wanted to kind of get some things, cover some things before the weekend. I leave tomorrow for everything. So, like I said, bunch of clapping passengers. Maybe we should do a Slammer Air caravan. Pull the parking brake, and then we should be able to get some lights. There we go. Alright, and then we'd go feather. And we would wait for less than 400 on the RPMs, and we would go to low idle after we got off the runway already, so we could go with that off, and the standby power would be off already as well. And then once that's all shut down, ignition off, boost pump off, and we can silence those things being come off as well. So that's going to pretty much do it, guys. I think, like I said, hopefully we'll get a... Oh, hang on. Was that... Look at that park job. That is pretty... it's all right. Better than usual, I feel like. Ella, let me get you the Discord real quick. I can try to figure it out. I don't know why I can't find it in the thing here. Isn't it? I thought it was just in like share or something. I can't get the freaking link. Oh wait, maybe it's here. Invite people. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, let's just do that. All right, here we go. I got it. And I'll put it in the Twitch chat because that's where you are at. All right, there you go. Thank you guys for stopping by, man. Really appreciate all you guys. Like I said, after this recurrent, it's one less thing I got on my plate and just a bunch of studying, and then hopefully we'll be back to streaming a little bit more regularly sometime in October. But for now, it's still nose to the grindstone with everything, guys. But like I said, thanks for being here. Really appreciate all you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.